Somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't care. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's going to tell me that's going to make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to talk about Neo. I was going to do a reaction to his discussion on VLAD TV with Gloria, where he's discussing gender, and I was getting ready to do the reaction video when, before I knew it, he had already apologized. Now, people were saying that he was going to get cancelled for his comments. He more than likely would have to apologize if he wanted to have any chance of appeasing the mob. So take a look at some of his comments.
I have no issue with the LBGT. I have no problem with with nobody. Okay,
Right.
Love who you love, do what you do.
Exactly.
I just personally come from an era where a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and it wasn't but two genders, and that's just how I rocked.
Me
now,
too.
You could identify as a goldfish if you feel like.
Right.
I don't care. That ain't my business. It becomes my business when you try to make me play the game with you. I'm not finna call you a
Right.
goldfish, but
Exactly.
you want to be a goldfish, you go be a goldfish. It's all good.
Amen.
People had a huge problem with him talking about, you know, identifying as a goldfish. But people need to understand that there are children who have been noted in schools to be identifying as cats and other things as well. So this is actually happening. People are identifying as animals now. The story I did about the two girls who were berated by their teacher, that was all over them not accepting the idea of one of their classmates identifying as a cat. So Neo's not too far off with the goldfish analogy, because this is actually happening. And that's what happens when you tell people that they can identify as something they're not.
I mean,
Well said.
it's just, we live in a weird time, man. We do. We live in a time where a person will have a mental breakdown in front of their camera.
Right.
Wait, let me wipe balance. No, it's not.
That's crazy, right?
What the hell is that? Like, if you are of sound mind enough to find the light,
Right.
and
Exactly.
then break down,
Exactly.
ain't nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Man,
No, there is something wrong with
whatever,
you.
there's something wrong with you.
Right.
There ain't nothing wrong with you. Like, man.
Right,
it's just,
right.
I don't
You're
know.
you're adding to it. It's all how we deal with life.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and a lot of people want pity, self-pity.
And
And I don't like that.
That was one thing that was not allowed in the house that I grew up in. It's like, okay, get your cry out, you know,
Right.
give that its moment. But once it's done, keep moving.
And yes, times have changed, but many will argue that times are declining. You know, times are deteriorating. It's not as clear cut as it used to be when we were growing up. Like he said, when he was growing up, a man was a man, a woman was a woman. And that was it.
We're not gonna sit and dwell in sorrow. We're not gonna
No.
sit and dwell in anger. We're gonna give those emotions the moment that they deserve. We're gonna respect those emotions. But then we're gonna get up and continue moving, because it's not about the fall. You can fall a million times, you get up 1,000,001. That's the way I was raised.
Me too.
Yeah, like, all right, that hurt. Go ahead, cry.
Now they pamper, oh my God, and
Trigger
let's go to the
warnings.
hat-
What the
right.
hell is a trigger warning?
Yes, exactly.
It's just when I
It
just
is
don't know
weird
when the world
times.
became so sensitive. Like comedians can't tell jokes no more.
No.
Like, everybody's offended. It's a joke. It's
Right.
a comedian.
Right.
It's a joke. You're not supposed to take it serious. It's a joke.
Right.
His literal job is to joke. And you
About everyone.
About everyone and
Right.
everything. And people want to get offended and like, don't say that. That's triggering. Oh my God. You know what?
Yeah,
Sit in your house by yourself.
exactly.
It annoys me.
I mean, anything can trigger you. A light can trigger you. A smell can trigger you. So, I mean, we got to walk on eggshells. Well, that's what they
Listen,
want us to.
That's what they want us to do.
But
My
I'll
generation,
be
there were no
damned.
trigger warnings. Okay, you got up and you kept moving.
And that's where we are now. You have to walk on eggshells. You have to be careful what you say. You have to be careful what you tweet. And that's where we are. And she said they want us to walk on eggshells. Look at Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx tweeted something simply about Judas, backstabbers, fake friends. And he near enough gets cancelled. Just come out of hospital. Someone, on top of that, somebody clearly stabbed him in the back. And he tweets about it and gets accused of being anti-Semitic, when he never mentioned a particular group of people except for fake friends and backstabbers. And he said, even Jesus wasn't exempt from this. So, you know, it can happen to anybody. Something along those lines. And now he has to issue a forced apology, as far as I'm concerned, because he meant what he said. He has to take responsibility for people's fragility, for people's insistence on finding offense in everything. And I've been in those debates where people are debating, you know, theology and that kind of thing. And you know, when somebody wants to enter in that type of debate, that's not what that was, what he tweeted. So it's very concerning to see people out here bowing to the mob. And of course, these apologies don't do anything. They're still going to consider you a bigot. They're still going to put that label on you, because now news outlets are reporting that he apologized for his anti-Semitic remarks, as if to say that's what that was. So when you do issue the apology, you validate the accusations that people have made against you. So it's like an admission of guilt. And that's what I thought happened with Neo, but thankfully there was more to the story.
I feel like parents have almost forgotten what the role of a parent is.
Amen.
It's like, okay,
Lost control.
If your little boy comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to be a girl, and you just let him rock with that, you just let,
Right.
He's 5.
Right. And where did he get that
If
from?
you let this 5-year-old boy decide to eat candy all day, he's going to do that.
Exactly.
Like, when did it become a good idea to let a 5-year-old, let a 6-year-old, let a 12-year-old make a life-changing decision for themselves?
Right.
When did that happen?
Right.
Like, I don't understand that. I don't get that.
And to medicate these young kids that are 5, 6 growing up and knowing that it affects their brain, it affects their organs, it makes them sick, but they're not allowed to do drugs, they're not allowed to do alcohol.
Right.
We can medicate
He
them up.
can't drive a car yet, but he can decide his sex.
Right, right. What sexual orientation, and he can cut off his pee-pee, and that, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever.
And so I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor that they either passed or are trying to pass a law in LA that states if your child comes to you and asks to do some of these things and you say no, they can take your kid from you.
Yeah, that's true. Just passed in California.
That makes no sense.
They want us to have no control over our children.
I don't get it.
In schools,
I don't get it.
Hospitals, libraries.
Yeah.
They just want to manipulate. You got to understand, when they're so young and they're already, that's
impressionable.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And from them, they're going to believe what you say. I mean, we say Santa Claus is real, you know, the
And
Easter
they
Bunny.
believe it, like,
right,
come on.
exactly.
Like, you gotta
they know what they're doing.
Remember who you're dealing with. Like, I can't take credit for it, but I heard somebody say one time, he's like, all right, if your son comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to be a girl, ask your son, what is a girl?
That's a good one.
What is he going to do? He's going to say, well, he might want to play with dolls. All right, you want to play with dolls. Fine, play with dolls.
Right.
But you're a boy
Right.
playing with dolls.
That's
I want
right.
to wear pink. All right, cool, wear pink. But you're a boy
That's right.
wearing pink.
I was a town boy. I still love boy sneakers, and I love my baseball cap. Doesn't mean I want to be a man.
So initially after that, there was a lot of backlash, as you can imagine. And lo and behold, just a couple of days after, there was a groveling apology that appeared on his page. And people were very disappointed, to say the least. He said, after much reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt with my comments on parenting and gender identity. I've always been an advocate for love and inclusivity in the LGBTQI+ community. So I understand how my comments could have been interpreted as insensitive and offensive. Gender identity is nuanced, and I can honestly admit that I plan to better educate myself on the topic, so I can approach future conversations with more empathy. At the end of the day, I lead with love and support everyone's freedom of expression and pursuit of happiness. And come to find out, he's claiming that his publicist put that apology out there. And that makes a lot of sense, because that apology was so robotic, on cue even. All of those points: educate myself upon reflection, I support LGBTQ, I'm all about love, I support everybody. We've seen that before, and people are tired of it. He got called a coward, he got called, sellout, all sorts of things. But on the other side, it was like, okay, so now you're apologizing. Well, you're still showing your true colors, you're a bigot. These apologies don't work. He decided to get on camera and speak for himself. So he's saying that that was a PR apology, and he's going to tell you how he really feels. So take a look.
What's going on, loved ones? This is Neo. All right, listen. I normally don't give too much of a damn about what y'all think about what I do, what y'all have to say about what I say, whatever. I normally don't care because, like I said, opinions ain't special. Everybody got one. However, this is something I feel very strongly on, and I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls, okay? That's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure, I apologize for you being offended because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question and I answered the damn question, okay? I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever. I ain't got no beef with y'all. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Do what you want to do with your kids. However, somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't care. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's going to tell me that's going to make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank, and that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neo no more, all right? And I got no problem with that. I'm a hustler, all right? I'll figure it out. I got kids to raise, and I'm going to do that regardless. So with that being said, y'all have a good day. I love everybody. Live how you want to live, love how you want to love, but your opinion is yours. Speak your opinion as much as you damn well feel like it. Because as I said, they're not important. They're not special. Everybody got one, and you're entitled to it. I'm entitled to mine, all right? Y'all feel how y'all want to feel. Have a great day. It's Neo. Peace and love.
So I love that. I love that he's speaking with conviction. He's standing by what he said. And he's basically telling us that was just for PR. The PR, person put that out. And it was a standard apology. It really did sound like a standard apology. He said he's entitled to his opinion as you are yours. And he has a right to express it. And that's what he did. He answered the question. And I'm glad he answered the question honestly. At the time, it did come across, he didn't really think what he was saying was controversial. You can tell he didn't realize that at the time. He just spoke honestly. And that was a great, refreshing conversation to hear. And then it was ruined by this apology, this fake apology that was put out. But that was a sincere, rebuttal to that. And he said, if I get cancelled, I get cancelled. I'll figure it out. And unfortunately, you're going to have to take that into consideration. You see what happened to Ye. And that's something that Jamie Foxx didn't want to happen to him. So that apology was put out there. But it's good to see Neo standing by his convictions there. And he said there's nothing that's going to make me think it's okay to tell a 5-year-old that they can change their gender. Just like he said, 5-year-olds believe in Santa Claus. 5-year-olds believe they're Superman. All sorts. He did say that he wants to get more educated on the subject. And I believe that's to arm himself with information so he can back up what he's saying. That's how that came across to me, as opposed to the apology that was put out there, where it sounded like he wanted to re-educate himself. And that's how that came across. That was really disturbing. So Neo hasn't bowed to the mob, and he said, he called your bluff. Counsel me if you want to. Now, one thing I want to address is people are saying that he put misinformation out there. Gloria made some comments about medicating a 5-year-old, cutting off their PP, that kind of thing. I guess that's what they're referring to. But what Neo said is not far off. Now, of course, medication and things like that comes later, but it still comes when they're a child. That's what puberty blockers are for. There are 11 and 12-year-olds who have been put on puberty blockers, and surgery is being done to children too. Chloe Cole testified in Congress the other day about having a mastectomy at the age of 15. Something that she cannot undo and she regrets. Something that she couldn't consent to, but doctors decided it was best for her to go through surgery, to be put on hormones, to be put on puberty blockers, all of which she was given as a child. She's only 19 now. She was told that the issue she was facing would be resolved as soon as she transitioned into being a boy. And that was a lie. She said in her testimony she wished she had been given counselling instead. She wished she had been given mental health treatment instead, rather than physical changes to her body, rather than hormones. We know that when these kids go on to have bottom surgery, some of them, they don't have enough penile tissue, so they have to use the colon to make a makeshift vagina. They have to use the colon. That's because they were put on puberty blockers when they were 11 or 12 and didn't even develop physically properly. So it happens. It's not misinformation. What Neo was saying, he was speaking facts and he gave his opinion, and he had the right to do so. So there are parents who tell their kids that they can change their gender. We've seen examples of this. Just go on TikTok. There are parents talking about knowing from the age of 2 that their kid was transgender. And yes, the G word can be applied to these parents because you're telling a 2-year-old, oh, you're in the wrong body. You're actually a boy. Like they were saying, the kid will start to believe it. You're taking the kid to pride-related events. Doesn't even make sense. That's not even appropriate. We've seen what goes on at those events. You're taking children to those events, saying that this is your community. Even if they're a boy and they're like pink or whatever, that doesn't mean they have to transition to being a girl. I mean, talk about buying into gender stereotypes. 1 minute, you don't need to dress this way to be a girl. You don't need to dress this way to be a boy. The next minute, you're perpetuating stereotypes to justify claiming that your child is transgender. Oh, they liked playing with trucks, so they must be a boy. It's ridiculous. And today, girls aren't allowed to be tomboys. You know, girls who grew up with brothers, even Chloe Cole said that she looked up to her brothers. And that was one of the reasons why, you know, she leaned more towards things that pertain to boys. But that didn't mean she was a boy or was in the wrong body. And she knows that now. But by the time she realized that, all of these procedures were done to her body because her doctor advised her parents to allow her to do these things. If you end up cutting off your healthy breasts and all of this sort of thing, you end up doing that to your body, mutilating your body, something that you cannot undo, and you regret that. What do you think that's going to do to the child? So people who like to claim that Neo was spreading misinformation, these are the very people who don't even know what they're advocating for. All they're looking at is politics. If you're on this side, this is what you have to advocate for. You have to be for this. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, you don't want to be horrible Trump supporters, the racists, the bigots. You don't want to be like them. So you're going to advocate for all of this. And you don't even know what you're advocating for. You're advocating for kids to alter their bodies permanently when one day they could end up regretting it when they mature a bit further and understand the full extent of what they're doing. You're advocating for kids to engage in something that they can't consent to. So I hope people support Neo, especially, you know, support from conservatives, support from people who just want children to be left alone when it comes to all this madness. And I'm glad he spoke his mind. He's not afraid to be cancelled even. I hope he doesn't get cancelled. Unfortunately, more than likely to a degree, you know, that may happen. These people have made a lot of money. He's been in the industry for years. So at this point, speak your mind, invest your money wisely, and you'll be fine. He should be able to, you know, be pretty comfortable, I would think. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.